as humans, our emotions change our pitch. We change our intonations. We even change our body language when we're trying to communicate something with people around us. And dogs are no different. So it's important to understand them, that they're a different species and they are meant to communicate a certain way. Now, when we express emotions differently, just to say that one single word of hello, dogs do very similar things. They express emotions, multiple emotions, just by barking. But it takes a rather refined ear to understand what that bark is meaning to say. I mean, what is the dog trying to say? First takeaway, the barks can mean so many different things. Dogs don't just bark to alert. They don't just bark for attention. They do multiple barks and for multiple reasons. So we'll figure out what those are, right? Now, when we are trying to talk, if I've seen my friend, if I'm seeing her or him after a very long time, I generally go, hi, and I'm a hugger. I'll warn you that. So I go, hi, and I go hug them. And my body language is so different. But if there's a total stranger who walks up to me and says hi, I think absolutely my arms are going to stay right next to me, right? But my body language is going to be very different. So dogs, but I do say a hello. I do say hi, how are you? What's up? Right? But dogs also communicate in a very similar fashion. Two things that you have to learn about dogs is understanding body language and understanding their vocalizations. I will just give you a very quick sort of rundown. Okay. Now, 5 parts of the dog's body are important for you to pay attention to: the tail, the shoulder, the ears, the eyes, and the mouth. These are 5 critical parts for you to look at the dog. Every wagging tail does not mean a friendly wag. Now, vocalizations are very similar. That's something you have to remember, right? Body language, vocalizations. 2 important things for you to understand what the dog is trying to communicate with you. You know, there are 3 important things you've got to remember. One of them is the pitch. I know one of you actually mentioned my dog has a high pitch bark. So the pitch, okay, very important for you to know. The duration of the bark, okay, that is the bark just for about 5 seconds and then it's gone? Or is the bark incessant? Or does it go on for 30 seconds, a minute, 2, whatever it is? And the third part of it is the frequency. And by that, I mean, is it a ruff, 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 or is it a ruff, 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 ruff? The frequency of the bark will also tell you a lot more about what the dog's trying to say. Duration, frequency, the PDF elements go from either low to a high in terms of range. Now, what happens is from low to high can change very quickly, and high to low can also change very quickly. Pitch is the best indicator for you, not the duration or the frequency, if you feel unsafe around a dog. Now, the duration is the next important thing. The high pitch is basically telling you it's okay, it's safe. But then the duration, if it's very long, that means that they're still thinking, they're calibrating. Should I run or should I stay? Am I safe or am I not safe? And then the third part of it is the frequency of bark. Another thing can be where the frequency is fast or short, right? Okay, let me describe what I mean by frequency. If there are multiple breaks in the dog's barking, then the frequency is generally low. Okay, if there are no breaks, if it's a continuous bark, then the frequency is high. So if you guys have been electronic signal systems engineers, you know what I'm talking about. Now, when a dog is barking, alerting us, great. I generally tell parents, let them bark it out. Let them alert us. But if it goes on incessantly or the dog is sort of overdoing it, then it's a good time, like we discussed previously, call the dog to us, run, get the dog's excitement and attention on us, and then you're set for success, right? You've broken that monotony of the dog's bark. Now, this is how we typically look at alert barks. However, another type of bark is an aggressive bark. And I don't want to go into too much detail. I already showed that to you, which is like, and the body language is also very clear. It's like dogs frozen. They're not moving. You'll see that the dog's only watching you by moving its eyes. The body is frozen. At this point of time, get ready. The dog might just,
Yeah.
this is typically a dog that is trying to get your attention. Okay. So they'll probably come here with their tails wagging, or they'll have a very loose body language. Mouth is wide open, right? And there is this one. Now I have some senior dogs that come, and this is what they are. I'm jumping around saying, come on guys, let's play. And they look at me and they're like, very wise old fellows. They look at me and they're basically, saying, okay, I get it. You have something, you want to do something with me, but, I'm practically bored right now. So thanks, but no thanks. I acknowledge you. You're there. However, howling, I want to talk to you guys about if you're leaving your dogs alone at home and your neighbors call you and say, boss, your dog is really howling. And they're going like, all the time, the entire time you're gone. Your dog has basically made it a habit to kind of pass their times by howling. Okay, now howling is, one of those vocalizations where, if we are bored, we kind of hum, or we kind of, we sort of walk around and we're singing a tune or some such thing. Dogs can also do howl. Dogs can howl when they are bored. And that's when we have to realize that probably somewhere in our minds, in their lives, we've trained the dogs that every time they've howled or they've made a vocalization, that we have responded to them. We have probably played with them. We've probably re-entered the room. So they're like, I'll keep howling until my mom comes. Ooh. And they'll howl probably the entire night if need be, right? So that it's a way that they have conditioned themselves, like, I'm bored, man, and I'll howl. Okay, but one of the other things is, if your dogs, we have some clients who have come to us saying, my dog just randomly starts barking in the night, or my dog is just whining sitting in front of the door, or she's just staring blankly into space and whining. And the first thing we say is, get your dog checked out by a vet. If this is a new behavior that has kicked off, where you're seeing the dog suddenly whining with no triggers, like no toy hidden somewhere, no, sort of food particle that's under the couch she can't get to, and she's still whining, and he sort of suddenly he just gets up and he's like, "Wah, wah, wah," and then he goes back to bed again. That could be a sign of a medical problem. It could be some pain the dog's feeling, or the dog has an allergy or an itch or some such thing that is triggering the sort of reaction in a dog. We generally say, if this happens with no trigger, even if it's irregular, or if this is like excessive barking, get your check done, right? Let the vet check them out, because sometimes, it could be multiple underlying medical conditions, and dogs typically have a very high threshold for pain. They don't vocalize until it's actually reached a certain level. So don't wait for this, like, I think maybe in a week or so this will pass. Now, very last thing, listen and learn. You have your dogs at home, but I'll tell you, the best dogs to learn from are the streeties around us, right? Food times, feeding times, times when there are strangers approaching their street, times when new dogs approach the street, times when their own feeders sort of drive by without feeding them. All of these things, you'll notice that they're barking, their movements, everything is so different. I can spend hours just watching and observing them, because there's so much to teach us. The way they communicate with each other, the way they bark, they vocalize, they play with each other. Wonderful lessons for us to learn. So try and see if you can figure out what your dog is trying to say by just observing these treaties, right? It makes good practice, and you will be able to understand what your dog's also trying to tell you.